Britain has blocked the United States from using its bases, including RAF Fairford and Diego Garcia, for strikes on Iran. And it's not just Britain. Saudi Arabia told Washington directly that its airspace and territory are off limits. Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE, and Bahrain have all refused to help Trump strike Iran. These are the countries bordering Iran, the ones with the most to gain from neutralizing Tehran's nuclear program. They are the ones most aggressively saying no to Trump. So last June, Trump's attack on Iran worked because it was a one-night operation with B-2s flying from Missouri. But a sustained months-long campaign against Iran, this requires forward bases for rearming and refueling. And every potential host nation told Trump no. The American military can still strike anywhere on Earth, but the American global network of bases that enables American power is rapidly coming to an end, and Trump and the Republicans are fully to blame. More on Substack at Cultural Perspective.
You know, you really have to take a step back and think about it and question the current foreign policy playbook when decade-long allies like the UK and Saudi Arabia are pretty much flat out slamming the door in our faces over airspace. And kind of like he's saying as well with bases, because it just goes to show that you can't essentially alienate global community and then expect them to back your play. It's kind of like, you know, it's not fair.
War is actually the most impeachable thing that Donald Trump has ever done. I'm the former Secretary of State of Missouri, and before that I was an Army intelligence officer in Afghanistan. Congress stands in for the people in this country, stands in as our voice. And that's why presidents are required to go to Congress to take huge actions like this war in Iran, not because Congress is so special, but because that requires presidents to go to the American people and make a case as to why they should allow their representatives, who they're going to elect every 2 to 6 years, to actually vote in favor of something like this. It's not like there's a draft where every American is feeling this as a result and therefore going to hold the president accountable for decisions like this about the military. All you got to do is look back to the Iraq War to understand why this is so important. George W. Bush got Congress to approve. It turned out to be a really bad decision. But what happened as a result of that? It wasn't just George W. Bush, whose poll numbers cratered and that sort of thing. There were a lot of members of Congress who lost re-election as a result. And so at a time like this, where the President of the United States is a second-term, lame duck president who only cares about himself anyway, it's really important that our Constitution work the way it's supposed to so that political risk gets spread across more than just the White House, so that a lot of Republican and even maybe some Democratic members of Congress have to stake their political careers on saying yes to something like this. If you look at the polls, the vast majority of Americans didn't want this war. And yet we're going into this war anyway. A lot of people are going to die, not just the American soldiers who have tragically lost their lives so far, but there's going to be lots of innocent civilians across the Middle East who have already died and who will die. And that's why it's so important that there be congressional authorization, because we have to have some check to keep presidents from just waging war because they feel like it without having to even justify it at all to the American people. Now, why do I think that this is the most impeachable thing he's ever done? Because he's gone completely against the people and seems to no longer care at all what we want. Look, the former leader of South Korea is in prison right now and was removed from office because he, for like a period of hours, put in place martial law. So yeah, I think that going to war without Congress, and in a war that is deeply unpopular, that you really never even bothered to try to convince the American people should be popular, yes, I think that is worthy of impeachment and potentially removal from office. You can follow me for more military nerdy takes like this one, because I got
Having someone like this, you know, spell it out in this way, it really kind of highlights how skipping Congress isn't some boring procedural loophole, but pretty much a calculated move to strip everyday Americans of their voice right before launching into a massive life or death conflict that could, in one way or another, definitely affect you, me, and people we know.
For clarity, you said that your missiles cannot reach the United States by design, that you do not want to reach the United States, but you also said it would be necessary as a defensive vehicle, that you could if necessary. So to be clear, are you committing that Iran is not and will not build missiles that would have the capability to reach the United States?
I can confirm, yes.
Sir, if that's a red line for you, why is attacking U.S. military bases abroad justified?
But because they are attacking us. They are U.S. military, installations, facilities, bases who are attacking us. We are under attack. Why don't you, recognize this fact? We are under the attack by U.S. by U.S. forces in the region. So we have every right to defend ourselves. And how to defend ourselves? We attacked, the U.S. bases. This is obvious. This is a very simple fact. And I hope that, and I'm sure that people would understand that. We are not the one who attacked Americans. We are only defending ourselves.
And there's a bit of logic in that, right? But, listening essentially to see that loophole their way into calling those base attacks self-defense, while dangling the threat of bigger missiles just kind of makes you realize how we really need some actual level-headed diplomacy to step in and chill things out before they escalate. Again, the logic is there, but,
Iran is not Venezuela. Iran is not even Iraq. China and Russia have been very quiet. They're both an ally of Iran. China and Russia are a part of the G5 countries, the most powerful countries on earth: the United States, France, Britain, China, Russia. Those are the 5 most powerful countries on earth. China and Russia have been quiet. This country is retaliating back. There's over 90 million people in Iran. Over 90 million people. I don't care if supposedly 80% of the people want that regime gone. That sounds like an Iranian problem, not an American problem. It sounds to me like there's so many bad things in these Epstein files that this president has got to do everything in his power to limit that information from getting out. Not to mention the fact that Bibi Netanyahu of Israel has a shit ton of dirt on this president. Iran has already launched an attack on Tel Aviv tonight. I don't know the extent of how far it's going to go. I know we're obviously more powerful than Iran, but you can't just invade and bomb countries because they need a little freedom. That's not how the world works. It was wrong when we did it. For the last 40 years, it was wrong. Going into Latin America, Central America, South America, Libya, it's always wrong. We're not Superman. Our names are not Clark Kent. We are not God. We are not Jesus. We are a nation that is blessed to be between 2 oceans to protect us. This administration is insane. Donald Trump is insane. And you reap what you sow. Who knows? Who freaking knows? But we are heading into dangerous territory either way.
Yeah, we've definitely already been in dangerous territory for quite some time, and obviously now more so than ever. But, you can't keep letting the administration drag us into incredible, insane, dangerous, unpredictable conflicts under the guise of freedom. When it feels like this whole escalation is just a reckless vanity project designed to distract from the president's own political scandals, kind of like what he was talking about, some certain lists.
I'm beginning to think that electing this guy was not a good idea. Like, I don't think he knows what he's doing. Here's what I don't understand. If you have the capability to surgically strike and vaporize a leader of a different country, how do you also miss and hit a school full of girls? There's a really big problem because either both were an accident or both were on purpose. And I'm not sure which is fucking worse. I mean, I know which is worse, but I don't think you can have one without the other. You can't just accidentally do that and then also do the thing that you... So explain the fucking first thing. So when they cut off 20% of global oil in retaliation, what's the plan? I don't think that he has a good handle on what he's doing. We should not have elected this guy, I think. I'm beginning.
Yeah, it really is unsettling to watch former supporters realize in real time that there might not actually be a cohesive strategy here, especially when we're seeing devastating contradictions like a high-profile assassination happening right outside or rather right alongside tragic civilian casualties, right? I mean, again, the school, it's crazy. It's all while we seemingly sleepwalk into a massive global oil crisis, but so many issues to talk about, many videos to come, but regardless, how is that an accident?
When Iran raised that red flag yesterday, March 1st, 2026, after their supreme leader was unalived, that was a declaration of revenge. And hey, let me tell those who are moving around and saying, oh, the United States is powerful and all of that. Iran on no occasion said they were powerful than the United States. They know that the US is a powerful country. They have sophisticated weapons, right? But Iran has vowed to make life miserable for that Goliath. Are you guys getting the difference? They have vowed that they are going to make the US pay for this attack that they meted on them unprovoked, while they lured them to go have talks. And in the middle of talks, knowing very well that Iran was not prepared, they took them unaware. And you have started seeing the retaliation. Today, 3 American fighter jets, series F-15, if I'm not making a mistake, were shut down. And you know what they said? They said it was mistakenly shut down by their ally, Kuwait. Are you guys seeing the war strategy? You need to know that in the middle of this war, especially the big boss will want to prove that he's not getting the impact. Donald Trump, in his speech today, he announced that the U.S. has lost 3 servicemen, right? But do you think it's true? Because on the other side,
4 of them.
Iran is saying that they have unalived like 557 U.S. servicemen. Now, maybe Iran has also exaggerated because during war, there is also this strategy, right? But do you think that the U.S. only lost 3 servicemen? Anyways, we're not going to drag, right? In the next couple of days, you would see mothers going to the White House to request that they want their sons alive. And we are going to know at that point if only 3 servicemen were unalive or not. You know, you can lie to keep yourself powerful, right? But at some point, it is going to be exposed, right? The truth would definitely come out. Even if the Western media, they can try to cover you from morning till night. At some point, the truth is going to come out. So again, people, keep your eyes open and learn to analyze. Learn to understand what is going on. Again, do not forget and never forget that Iran was quietly seated, unprovoked, and they were in talks to find a commonality. And from nowhere, the United States, together with their boss, Israel, launched terrible attacks on Iran, which took the lives of their supreme leader and other top military officials, and most especially more than 200 kids, without counting other adults that were unalived in this attack. Do not forget that.
Man, it's war is crazy, man. You know, what else can you really say? Seen reports of horrible, devastating mass casualties at girls' schools in Iran, you know, drop at the exact same time that we're having to question the real truth about our own American losses, right? 3, 4, is it 6 maybe, right? You know, rest in peace. It just highlights the absolute madness of launching an unprovoked strike right in the middle of diplomatic negotiations. You know, it's really so devastating and unfortunate, and my heart genuinely goes out to all those lives who were lost. But regardless, that's it for the video. If you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, check out some of the other content. We're keeping you updated.